Hi, and welcome back to the Mortgage Broker broadcast. I'm so excited about my guest this week. I'm so excited about recording this episode of the podcast. The reason being is that my guest this week is non-industry, so he's not from a mortgage services or financial services background. So it's been going to be good to talk to somebody away from the industry for the first time. But really, it is relevant because my guest is Christian Hoyle. Christian is a mindset coach, and I think what he talks about and what he discusses and what him and I discuss is really relevant to the mortgage broking world. So no, it's not about mortgage broking, it's generally about mindset, but it does incorporate a lot about mortgage broking and the mindset and things like that in there. So, but yeah, let's just get it onto the podcast, and yeah, here it is. So welcome to the podcast, Christian. How are you?
Very good, Craig. Very good. And
Good,
you?
good, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, very good, mate. Very good, mate. Apart from, as we've already talked about, the weather outside in beautiful Kendal today, but yeah, it's what we have to live with and deal with day in day out. But yeah, I'm great. And to be fair, mate, I'm absolutely buzzing about this podcast because I cannot wait to see where this goes. Because like normally, the mortgage broker broadcast is for other mortgage brokers or marketing or various people in the mortgage broking world. You are the first guest. I'm sure you are, but you are the first guest that's not got any connection to the more, unless you're going to spring something on me and tell me that in the past you've been a
I'm
mortgage
not.
broker, something like that. No, you're good. But what I'm it is like you are unique in terms of you're the first guest that's got no connection to the mortgage broking world. However, the relevance is of what
Mm.
you do and who you are and what you're all about, which is why I've got like a big smile on my face because I've got no idea what we're going to talk about. I've got no agenda. It literally is going to be a total conversation. Who knows where it's going to go? But wrapped around all this is something that I talk about all the time, which is all about mindset and attitude and behaviors and things like that. Being a mortgage broker, because it's not an easy life being a mortgage broker.
No.
You've got to have resilience.
Mm.
You've got to it is a roller coaster ride. You're dealing with people that are really high on emotions. Buying and selling houses is one of the most stressful things people ever do. So, and as a mortgage broker, you're always the brunt end of that because they can speak to you and not the solicitor, and you get all the grief and all the slack. Like you
Mm.
literally just do get loads of grief. So I think in terms of when you reached out and we've had some conversation before and you sort of reached out and said, can I come on your podcast? Well, for me, it was something when we first met, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I've got to get Christian on the podcast. Once the podcast gets a bit of traction, getting quite a few subscribers as we've got now, what a great person to get onto the podcast because just about you and who you are and yeah, let's first of all let's just get to know
Yeah.
you a little bit more because I've gone loads of big introduction on you there. Let's Who is Christian Hoyle? Go on,
So
I'll leave that
my
over to
name's
you.
Christian Hoyle. So I work as a mindset and business coach. And it's interesting. I didn't know where this was flowing, but there is a mortgage related thing. I've just spoke about it this morning. So you talked about the mindset needed for the person getting the mortgage. In the room next door to me, which is 3 floors below you, Craig, there's a lady who's just sold a house, and she had to sell it because for time things. And then she's now living at her mum's house in the worst scenario ever in a tiny bungalow, 5 of them. And she's what you talked about. Then she's caught in between that. She's got to wait for the mortgage now. It's going to be about 7 weeks. So she's in like such a grey area. Is the mortgage going through? What's happening? She's in a certain stage, and it's really that mindset. And I just said how amazing she's doing because at the minute she's living in a conservatory which has no windows at the top. So every day she's like,
Wow.
she believed, and she can hear this as I'm saying it, that at the minute she's like, oh, she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know when she's coming or going. Where in actual fact, she's doing incredibly well. She set a goal, and that was to get the house that she wanted of her dreams, and she's buying that. And in order to get it, she has to do some things in between it. And the mindset she has for that, rather than her thinking, oh, it's not going well, everything's going wrong. In actual fact, she's doing incredible. She's making things happen by giving up things in order to do it. And it's that kind of thing, like you said. When I think of a mortgage advisor, you meet someone and you might be telling them they can't get one. How do you deal with that when you've got to go your next one? And it's that constant test of your character. How do you deal with rejection? How do you deal when you've got to give bad news? And your day, you've got to drive. So you drive an hour to an appointment, and then you've got to get back in your car, drive someone else. So the mortgage advisor is going for a constant mindset check. And then I actually think you doing like you've got high energy. So when I first met you, you walked in and you say energy, and you say someone who's got the right mindset for doing well in business. You're on it. You're switched on. You're positive. You've got energy, and that's why you're doing this podcast is going well. Your other things are going well because you apply the right mindset to everything you do. And I saw that straight away, and that's why probably everyone who's working with you thinks the same. I even now want to get my mortgage off you.
Good. That's good then. No, but we're not here to big me up. I'm here to big you up and talk about you and what exactly is. But like you're right, going back to the experiences that you are somebody that works very close to you is experienced right now. She's sat in that conservatory, living in that conservatory, but she see the end. Her focus is the end goal, and she's focused on that end goal, her dream house, like you said. And you've got to have those. She's got to have hope to make sure to know that end goal is there and achievable for her. And you go through the pain right this second to then go through that goal, get to that goal, and achieve what she wants to achieve at the end of it. And she will being experienced in the whole home buying process from an advisor point of view and from a client point of view as well. Really, once she gets the keys, once she gets through that front door, once she sits on that sofa and her sofa's in the house and she's in front of her TV, all the pain, all
Yeah.
the drama, everything else will have gone out the window because then she's got the goal. She's achieved what she wanted to achieve. So definitely. So first of all, what does a mindset coach do? What mindset and motivational coach? What do
Let me
they
tell you.
do?
So let me tell you some of the different people that I work with. So I primarily work with entrepreneurs and professionals, but that doesn't mean I exclusively work with them. But I work with them because when you're in any profession or in an entrepreneur, your mindset is constantly tested more than anyone else. Everyone looks at an entrepreneur and sees the results and thinks, I want them results. They're great. Well, I want to have that. You're doing really well. What they forget is how much you went through in order to get them results. How many times you were internally tested and thought you were failing or thought you made the wrong choice, thought you made the wrong decision. How many times you had to pick yourself up off the floor and keep going. How many times in a morning you get up and you have to get the right mindset for that day ahead. Like some days you'll have seen all these people will think, oh, that's it. That sounds like a dream job and really good. They don't think about the negatives that go on with it. It's a challenging thing going in between appointments, raising your game and always staying in the same level with everyone you meet. And when I come across people, some of them it might be work related and they might have self-created barriers. They might keep hitting the same barrier. And when I ask them about it, the actual barrier is what they self-created. And I say, yeah, but why is that? Why can't you do that? And they'll say, oh, I just can't do it. And I'll say, yeah, can we talk about when you say you just can't do it, what is the reasoning why you can't do it? And when you start just challenging that with a few questions, what you quickly find out is the reason why is a self-made answer. And actually, you can do anything you want if you tell yourself. And people it's like the story, like we have a story. You once didn't do mortgages and you said, I'm going to become a mortgage broker and I'm going to make a success and I'm going to at some point you said, I'm going to do a podcast. And that's the story you became. When you started the podcast, you didn't know what you were doing. You thought, oh, I bet it's quite challenging. I remember my first one. You're a bit nervous and stuff. And maybe, and you have to go through that. Your mindset got you through it because you knew that once you've done it 3 times, you'll be better than you were on the second time. And each time you do it, you get better as you go. And we're facing all these challenges. And sometimes that story we've told ourselves, you just need to reinvent a new story. If I want to make a challenge and overcome something, I need a new story of who I'm going to be. Like where I got into mindset was, I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. I've had loads of small businesses. I'm in one now that I've had the longest. It's kept me through it all. But then I've had some lucky ones where I've had, I say lucky, you create your own luck. I had a multi-million-pound brand that started off at nothing and then became a £10 million business within 3 years. And I rode that, and my mindset was tested every single day in that journey. Lots of times I wanted to quit at the beginning. Lots of times when I was up against big money within things, people start acting very differently. And I was tested all the time. And why I went on to coaching in the end, because I realised every test I got, there was a different mindset for me to take on board to get through it. Because we can get through anything. The only thing that stops us getting through it is ourselves. It's like the human body when we're exercising. If you go for a run, it's not your body that's quitting. It's not your body that can't run it in that time. It's not your body that can't do that distance. It's your mind. So when you start to understand it's your mind that's stopping you, and your mind, really, if you train it, can keep going longer. Like when I had a triathlon recently and I couldn't swim. Well, sorry, I can swim, but I couldn't swim outdoor open water 1 mile before it. So I started going to the swimming pool. And I thought, I can't do it. I just haven't got it in me. But I did have it in me. I just needed to practice it. So each week, at first I could do 2 lengths. I was like, I couldn't breathe. By week 5, I was doing 10 lengths and learning. Then once I learned to do 10, I could do 20. And I just learned to breathe. And once I learned to breathe, then I thought my mind could handle, I can do this. And soon as I started saying, I can do this, changes happened. And that's the big difference. I remind people they can do it. Because some of them are like, my best case, I've had one recently. I've had someone who's a professional. He didn't want to talk about work because mindset doesn't not about work. If you
No.
haven't got your out of work sorted, it's going to affect your work. So this person had some relationship problems. So this is how it came. I came to the first call and we were online at this. I went, hey, how you doing? They came across really well. I thought, right, they seem really switched on. And I said, what's going on? And he went like this. And then told me the story of what they were going on, the problem. 4 weeks later, I said, hey. And he's like, hey, how are you doing? And he went, I'm going to be honest with you. And this is the best thing that anyone could ever say to me. He said, I have to be honest with you. Everything you've told me, because often with mindset, it's habitual thoughts. It's how you go about a thought in a day. Like when you get out of bed, when you were younger, your thought was, I'm going to stay in bed longer and I'm going to wait till the last minute to get out of it. As you get older, your mind gets more secure in what's best for you and you follow it. And he said to me, everything you've said to me now has become second nature and my life is much happier because of it. And I was like, it was like everything I've wanted to do was what he said right there, and that was a great thing.
Wow. What great feedback though, Christian, in terms of somebody that you've taken, what was that 4 week journey, like you said
Yeah.
there, like from where he was and where you'd taken him in that 4 weeks. That just must have been such a big buzz for you. You must have thought that, wow, that's like, I really have had an impact on his life and him as a human being.
Yeah, this funny enough, and as well, I really like him. You know, that's what happens when you start working deep with someone. What happens is I'm a coach and a mentor, so I'm honest about my life. You know, so when we get in there, there's always something I tell him something very personal about me is why mindset became so important because something happened to me once and I had to switch my mindset and it's continued throughout my life and I tell them my personal story because I say it's confidential between the both of us. I'm going to tell you loads of stuff about me because I want you to see that we're both in the same journey. And I
Right.
just think I've just done one now for someone now. Before I came here, I've got a friend that I know. His son's just been to prison and he got out of prison today. And I said 3 weeks ago, the day he wants to get out, I'd like to meet him for you because I wanted to discuss about his mindset because he's just been in prison for 10 months and he's not a bad kid. Not everyone who goes to prison's a bad kid. Missed
No.
bad circumstances. And I had to talk to him about the mindset he's going to need now going forward so he is the guy who doesn't fall in the system. So it doesn't matter what it is. I wanted to talk to him about how he can think about going forward, about setting up experiences to have a good life. Because being in prison isn't a good life. Being a prisoner, being a criminal, knocking around with that isn't good. And I wanted to be there to help him and guide him. So it's like my role can be like the total different things. Yesterday I was with someone and I was encouraging him to do more of this, more video. Today,
Right.
I know he's going to do a video piece. He said he's going to do this video, and I'm pumped. And he goes, "I've always wanted to do it." And I said, "Well, your accountability comes now. You do it." But I did in 2 weeks' time because we coach and we meet twice a month. In 2 weeks' time, I want you to have done 5 pieces of content on a video because you've just got to start. Like when you did this, were you a bit worried when you first started the podcast?
Absolutely. I didn't got a clue where to start. When I first started doing, how I got into podcasting was I was a guest on a podcast. So somebody who I know he was doing a mortgage podcast, a marketing podcast, and went on to there, and I just thought, actually, out of my comfort zone, thinking, let me look at this. Could be something that I could. Don't get me wrong, I love doing it. What I think I found best. The difficulty was for me at the beginning was talking about myself, and really somebody on the podcast was interviewing me about me, and and I didn't feel comfortable like that about that. But then, and I have a branding coach, so we've talked about, just had a quick chat before about branding and the whole banner on this, and and he sort of makes me accountable for doing this, which is a beautiful thing about it, is because I do videos, I do podcasting, but he's like produces it all, and he does various things, like quite a lot of work behind the scenes with that. But I'm accountable to him, and I needed him. I, if I didn't have that, this podcast wouldn't even be alive, or it wouldn't even, because I'd just find something else to do. Go back, I'd be in my business and doing something like that. But I didn't have a clue. I didn't know where to start, what gear that I needed, I thought I needed all the gear and all the rest of it. But then it just, inside I thought, I'm I like challenges, I like insecurity, I like thinking, oh, this is something totally new, and I want to know all about it. So I like have a, whatever the terminology is, but once I
You
throw
have a
everything
growth
into it.
mindset.
Yeah, I
You
think
have a
that's, I just
growth
want to
mindset.
go. Yeah, in fairness, Christian, I do, because I'm thinking like, I've got to learn about this. I want to get it right. I want to look the part. I can't look like an idiot on doing things like this. So I go all in with it and think, right, this like podcasts, and so yeah, it was fine. And first of all, it was without the video. So when I started doing podcasting, there was no video there, so you got a little bit of security of just talking to a mic and not having a camera. And then it was like, right, we need to get video in there now for YouTube and start doing some shorts and clips and things like that around this stuff you're doing. And it was like, sort of, okay. But then it's still not like, so that was then, right, I need to get from behind the camera into the front of the camera as well. So you're dealing with that change in emotion and thinking, right, wow, I've got to deal with that now. So I'm not only worried about what I'm saying and how I'm saying it, I've also got to look the part and as well, kind of thing. So it's not something that was easy for me to do. And people go, oh yeah, but you just sort of took. No, you don't. It's like it was totally new. And like when you're sort of saying then about creating habits and habit forming and how many times, like doing it like the third time better than the first time, that's what you, by doing it, you're only going to get better. So I'm thinking, well, I want to get better. Well, the only way I'm going to get better is by doing it. So I'll just crack on and do it then. Just get it done. Just stop what you procrastinate about and just crack on and do it, kind of thing. So, but yeah. So how did you, like, when you look at the conversation you've had with, like, with somebody like that, that's going from total, somebody coming out of prison, which is quite personal, and like for them, like say they must have, I've never had to deal with, like, with somebody. I've known somebody, but then not had to personally have a one-to-one with them conversation when on the day they're getting out. It's like they must be in a very different place to somebody that you normally work with, or are they similar sort of places from a mindset point of view?
From a disadvantaged background, so it's not something
Right,
that's not new to me. So I've been, I've sort of, I've had in growing up, I've been around certain things, and it's experienced me for life. And this kid this is what the reason why I put myself forward. This kid was in my son's football team, so my son
right,
now with the right mindset. My son's got the mindset. He's now working in Manchester. He's doing incredible in business. I spoke to him on the phone last night, and he's. I hate saying this, but he's so much more intelligent than me now because he's going very corporate. He works in recruitment, and he's so switched on. And I've got this kid at 21 who's switched on, and the other kid, I really like him, and I liked him at thing, and I think he's made some bad choices. And the thing is, we're not held to a choice or decision. We can change. That's people think that they've done a decision and choice and they're held for it forever. It might be career, might be the house they're in, you're not. You're not held to anything. If something's not
yeah,
working, we need to either find a way to stop it and move on. There's always a way. That's the thing. And just like when I met Will today, he's got a way, but he needs someone like me to get in there because his mum and dad don't understand it. Because I know people who've gone through this. I know it, but I want him. I think he's a good kid, and I've always liked him. And I thought, what difference is it if I give him some of my time? This isn't a paid client, so I just offered my time because for me, this kid's got an opportunity, and he can either have a life that he wants to live, or he can have a life that he thinks he's going to have because he thinks that's good. And when I met him, I don't know whether I can't tell you if he's going to make the changes, but I can tell you I gave him all the right information to think about going forward, because that's what it is. Like, I've always known, Craig, you've got a growth mindset. If you want to know about your mindset, any of your listeners, I'll ask a question now. So the question is, in 1 year from now, where will you be in your work, career, and relationships? That's the question. So they think about that. And if the answer to that, if the answer to that doesn't include challenges, moving forward, making changes, getting somewhere, you'll find that their mindset's fixed. So when you have a fixed mindset, it holds you back. The difference between a growth and a fixed mindset is everything you just said. Everything you said about when you did the podcast is a growth mindset. You were willing to challenge yourself. You were willing to put yourself out there. You were willing to fail. You were willing to give it a go. Because failure is just a road of success. You know, as an entrepreneur, bloody hell, you're like, we have, if we don't fail, we're not moving. I have to have failed to win, because I only find out what I'm doing right by failing. And for anyone else who's not in the entrepreneurial, that might be difficult to them, but it's true. And I think the difference of a mindset is, and the great thing, let me just say this, if you answered that question you felt like you didn't put in, the great thing about a mindset is you can work on it and do activities to grow your mindset. You can start to challenge the way you think, and you can do things slightly different. And it's always slight changes in the way you think, the way that you select your thoughts, the way that you go about something. It's only slight stuff. And then it might be slight changes, like we talk about habits. Habits make massive changes. You know, if your habit's eating donuts, it takes you 1 day to grow that habit. You might eat one every day, but if your habit is challenging about changing your life for the better, about 66 days. But once you get through that 66 days, what's your new habit? Because that one becomes habitual, normal in the you're with it. So it's exciting, it's like, it's the mindset that says that, like, I want to go forward. I want to overcome stuff. I don't see hurdles. I see possibilities. And that's the thing. Someone with a growth mindset, every situation they enter, they see possibilities. Whereas when you've got a fixed mindset, wherever you go, you only see the negative aspects of every situation you enter. And it's training your mind to look for possibilities rather than negatives of things, because we could all find the same things, but some of us seem to go further. And that's the way that we think.
And I think it's a great point what you make about, because people think that it's like a big thing. Like, it's like you talk there about slight changes and tweaks in habits and stuff like that. People sort of think sometimes it's like this massive thing that they need to change, which is, it might end up being a massive change, but it's only small change. It's small steps in it. It's small steps today that will have an impact on that change. What did you mean then? You said something about 66 days. What were you referring to when you were talking about that then?
It takes about 66 days for you to form a new habit. So you have to keep doing it, because it becomes normal after a bit. I'll give you one of my new habits. So, I'll give some book choices as well. So there's 3 things that I tell everyone I work with. I never, because I'm big into my exercise, not as big as I was, but I'm stepping it up again. I do every day, do a walk and a run up the castle, and I do a range of other things. I say, do you exercise? And they say to me, yes or no. And if they say no, I say this. I say, will you do me a favour? Because I always, when I work with people, I say, are you doing anything? Are you listening to anyone else of a different way to be, or are you just doing things as you do them? Because if you're just doing things as you do them, you're never going to grow, because you'll only ever end up with the same result as you've always had. You have to listen to someone else to form a different way of doing things. So I love my books. I love my books. I don't read them, I audio them. So this is what I say. Will you do me a favour? Walking is the food for your soul. If you walk, it doesn't take any motivation, always makes you feel good, and you get fitter off it. And if you want, you can start, once you start there, you can challenge, like I run up the castle every day. On my walk, I don't have to I just do it. I just do it because it's normal. It's my new habit. I've been doing it for 4 years now. So I get people to do that. Then I say, I want you to do audio books, because you say you haven't got time. I want you to walk. That's 30 minutes every day. Listen to a book. It'll change your life, change your mind. So what I'd recommend, the 2 books I offer every client that I say my game changers, I've got loads of them. One is the Chimp Paradox, which is a mind management tool, which it opens you up to yourself when you're going, oh God, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. But you see it in others. And the other game changer for me There's a book called I think Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. Because everyone I meet is acting. Say that I'm 44 and I meet someone else who's 44, and they're still acting. They're still answering certain things like they were when they were 20 because they've got pre-programmed responses. And at some point, we have to say no. I'm going to answer modern day problems right now, right here, as me now, not me weaker version 15 years ago. So I'm going around the houses of my so I mentioned the walking and the habit thing. My other habit is so now I do the audio book, but now every morning I get up, do my stretches, then I read out of actual physical book now, and I love
Okay.
it. I don't read a book any other time apart from going on holiday and first thing in the morning, and I find it like I'm reading How to Influence People again for the fifth time, the
Okay. Yeah.
new modern
Yeah.
one. I read that this morning. There's a snippet every day that gets my mind going right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the habits. And now that's a habit. I do it every morning now. It took me 66 days to formalize it. You know, they say that's a rough thing, but if you want to start something, the other one with habits as well, I always ask people, do you exercise? I don't say, I go to the gym, and it takes a lot of motivation to go to the gym, and I do it. I'm working on myself. I'm going on a Sunday now. I'm doing it twice a week. I want to do it 3. But that's a lot for someone else to take. And you've got to imagine to turn that into a habit, people become the yo-yoer. You know, like the yo-yo. So the
Mm-hmm.
reason why the problem is they go into it, right, I'm going to go 5 times a week to the gym. I'm going to start reading every morning for an hour. I'm going to go on this diet, have this. And it's unrealistic. So you have an unrealistic expectation at the end of it. You know, and it's like, I help people with this kind of thing, yeah. It's a lot, sorry. I was
No,
passionate
no, no,
about that.
mate. This no, no, and rightly so, Christian. To be fair, mate, you're absolutely right because, and it's right to get passionate about it because these are the things that people, like you said, I've read the Chimp Paradox. I get it, and I do. I've read it, and I think I've read it a few times. And I think one thing you said there was going back to books. I'm a big reader. Audio books I can't do for some reason. I can't do them. So if I'm running or exercising or doing something, I will listen to a podcast. I'll listen and and listen
Mm,
to other people. Absolutely. I think it's about other people's opinions and thoughts and stuff like that. Absolutely. So I
mm.
listen to a podcast. Reading, I read every day. An hour every day, I will read. Certain time, set time,
Yeah.
every single day.
What
Day
time?
in, day out. Like later on at night, like in the
Right.
night, I will literally sort of. So it's a case of going to bed at 10 o'clock, sat on your phone for an hour, scrolling through loads of crap and seeing what people have done, or you read. And I just started to
I was just
read,
going to say,
and
please
I
don't
just
do that. Please make that habit. I never take my phone to bed. Please make the
no,
habit of never taking your phone to bed. Please start that
absolutely.
habit today.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you on that because that's what I stopped to do. It was then
Mm.
I was like replying to emails at 10 o'clock at night. I
Yeah.
was looking at what we'd do, like various things I was doing work wise. But then I just stopped and I'm an avid book reader. Like there's a lot of things that I do. One of the things that was in my mind when you were talking about um before was David Goggins, the
Yeah.
Marine. I don't know if you've read. Yeah,
Yeah, I do
yeah.
know
So
him because
yeah,
he's
you do know him.
motivational wizard of, but he's
Yeah,
like next level. I mean, I could never be him.
phenomenal.
I'll tell you that
No,
right now.
no.
And I don't compare myself to others, but I just know he is like, woof,
Another level. Yeah, he
he's
is. But
another
he's all
level.
about mindset, isn't he? That's
Mm,
he's like going back to what you said. Everything is. It's not about people's body. It's about your mindset that stops you
mm,
from achieving what you want to achieve. So, and then when you were talking about that, David Goggins was in my mind. So, what you find is that in every situation you're talking about, if you read, like I find this anyway, that when we're talking about you with books and when I'm reading, I'll go right. I like that, and I'll keep that. And then that bit I don't really get, so I'm not going to let that
same,
come into me, kind of
same.
thing. Because so I was on a podcast a few weeks ago, and they sort of said, right, who's your role model, who's your idol? And I was like, well, I don't really have one. And that might sound strange, but they were sort of like, well, what? And I went, because I don't see that there's one person out there that I
Mm,
think, oh, they are the absolute perfect human
mm,
being. Because it's physically impossible. If you're looking out for yourself and trying to find the perfect human being, you can't find it. But if you're thinking, I'll take a bit of that, I'll take a bit of that,
yeah.
leave that there, then you'll find your own way of doing things and become a better human being yourself. So you there was nothing wrong with how passionate you got about creating habit forming, Christian, because
Mm,
I think that is vital to then being to change your mindset and think
mm,
about. And there's loads of books on that. There's like I'm an avid reader like you are in terms of thinking. when you're talking about the small changes and small step changes and the books of, I've not done the other one you talked about. I've read the Chimp Paradox a few times, and I've been on a few sort of
Joe
sessions with it.
Dispenza. I get the second
Yeah.
name wrong. Joe Dispenza. Julie says I say it wrong. I'm dyslexic, so I say words I say them wrong. But it's Joe
Okay.
Dispenza. He's a phenomenal guy, and I'd recommend it to anyone who's listening.
Okay.
Really makes you think of changing yourself. Like, you're like, wow. You see, when you look at, when you actually, that's the thing, evaluating yourself and being realistic about yourself. I'm saying, that you are a living organism, and you are going forward, and like, I meet a lot of people who are too hard on themselves. Like, I would never treat myself like they treat themselves, and then they wonder why they're unhappy. Because they've got unrealistic expectations on everything. You know what?
Yeah.
I like to push myself, but I'm kind to me. I don't have a good life, and I do have a good life. I have a happy existence. And when I meet people who want to coach, every one of them, if I meet someone, what I'm really good, I'm really good at people who are going through difficulties, because most people think when they're in difficulties, things are much worse than what they are. And you'll notice I say they think it, because everything that happens is between here. Everything. It's like everyone thinks if they get, I want to be rich, that'll make it happier. No. Because you'll still be you. When I lose weight, I'll be happier. No, because you'll still be you. Whatever you're looking forward to make a change, doesn't matter, because you'll still be you. Where we live, and this is they won't know this, where we live, in the Lake District, in Bowness, massive heroin problem. People go, heroin problem? I got a Bowness, it's beautiful. This is where the problem lies. It's the same. I live in Liverpool, and I've got a heroin addict. I decide I'm going to get off the heroin. I'm going to go and get a job in a hotel in Bowness. I arrive in Bowness. I'm off the heroin for one day. My addiction's still there, so I'll just buy some heroin. So I'm back on it there, because my addiction came with me. Because I take me wherever I go. So if I don't deal with the addiction, I'm just going to be the same person wherever I go. So if I don't deal with my mindset about certain things, I'm just going to be the same. So when people want to make changes, that's when people like myself come in, because when I'm coaching someone, I'm their ally. I am with them. I'm on their team. I take coaching seriously. Their personal happiness, how they feel, is important to me, because that's my job. So when they tell me things and we agree stuff, and just honestly, it's tiny ways to think different. It's not even big, because everyone I meet is 90% or 95% already there, but they've convinced themselves through that little gremlin that's been eating away at them, that we're going to remove, that things aren't going well. But they are, and I'll start saying, well, let's talk about your life. Oh, that sounds quite good. Oh, that sounds good. They've got all these good things. I went, what you've done is you've forgotten to start looking at what you have and get convinced about what you haven't. So we need you to start being more grateful for who you are, because I think you're pretty cool. And no one says that. No one says these things. No. And I think that's the journey that I like to take people on.
I think do you think because people, like you said there, people are harsh on themselves? I think they set unrealistic expectations. And I think you've used the word job there, and I never see you as, like, rightly or wrongly, but clearly you love what you do, and I don't think you'll ever see it as a job. You have a job to do. You've got a role and responsibility when you're a coach, and and what you're doing with these individuals. But you must love what you do, because you've always got a smile on your face. I've never,
do you know what
ever...
I don't love? I don't love at the minute, soon, within a year, I'll be full, because I put energy in. I take it as important. I hate the marketing. I don't hate networking. I actually quite like that. Sometimes I have to make videos, I do stuff, and I think my weakness, because I identify I've got weaknesses, is maybe my written word, and sometimes I have to do that, but I overcome it. I find a way. Like you're not good at branding, but your branding is superb and on point. It's like, this branding on this thing is like brilliant, really impressive. It makes me think, my branding's weak. I'm weak in my branding. And my coach wrote a book called Brand Against the Machine, and he's a massive hitter in the branding world. But he's talking about branding in big businesses, and he actually is a branding and mindset coach. But mindset is not what I work with him. But your branding coach has done a really good job there. So if he's listening, good on him. Who is he? Who is your branding coach? Let's shout him out for further work. Who is he?
He gets more shout outs than I do on this podcast. No, a guy called Ash Boland, and he is the reason why I've talked about Ash before on the podcast. But one of my recent podcasts was one of his other clients as well. He has got quite a few, but one of his clients. And I think the thing is with Ash, it goes back to what I was thinking about Ash when you were talking before about accountability, because as a business owner, I've got total freedom. I love freedom. I love being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I absolutely, and that's why I left the corporate world, because I didn't have the freedom. And I realized at a late stage in my life that all I was craving was the freedom to be who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, and where I want to go. And so that I had no account, like, so then I went into set my firm up and I had no accountability. Things would sort of,
When was this,
I
Craig? When was this?
4.5 years ago,
Right.
like it was July
So you were like
2017 when I set the
35
firm
then,
up.
sort of 35-ish.
Yeah, I wish, mate. Yeah, I wish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wish. Midlife crisis for me, mate. I was just think when you sort of said then about having a son at 21, I thought there's no way, no chance Christian's got a son at like
We're going to be
that's
half.
left
He's
school
22
yet.
soon, and I'm 44. So
Oh,
first time ever we're halves. It's quite
oh
exciting.
wow, wow. So yeah, no, I'm yeah, 4.5 years ago, midlife crisis. But the thing, what like my accountability, I didn't have any. I was just setting my firm up, doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. The beauty of working with someone like anyone, like I did have a coach at the time, but then I did have a coach, and the reason why I stopped working with that coach was I always felt working with a mindset coach and a business coach, it was a partnership. I felt a partnership with this person,
Total,
and
total.
what happened was there was a breakdown in that relationship because I felt accountable. This is not Ash, by the way. This is before I was working with Ash.
Yeah, yeah.
It was my previous sort of business coach that I was working with. And what happened is that it was a partnership, and I had, right, and we went away every single month with tasks to do. I had my tasks to do. He had tasks to do as my coach, and we
Yeah.
review those like next time, and then and that's how it would work. The first time that they turned up without doing their tasks when I'd done all mine, it just went like it just fell apart. Like, why have I got this coach? Like, if they're not delivering what they should be doing and they're my coach, why would I be doing? And that's because that went back to me as a coach when I worked in the corporate world and as a manager and a leader, because it was always about a partnership. I had to deliver on my promises as an advisor. I had to deliver on theirs. So the coach that just stopped working straight away because I thought, you're not delivering on your promises and you can't do that as my coach. So then we started to work with Ash. Ash doesn't tell me what to do, but I felt accountable because of the branding of podcasting, YouTubing, marketing, all those things that now I've been working on with him for the past 18 months or so, like probably shorter than that, but it feels like a lot longer. Is then I felt accountable to him. Like your clients will with you as a coach, you should feel accountable to your coach, even though they're not your boss, your manager, or anything like that. They're not here to tell you what to do. You'll set
We're an
expectations for
ally.
them. Yeah,
We're in it
exactly.
together. I just think,
Exactly.
I like. It's a unique. So I've been doing coaching without being paid for a lot of years. What I've done is I've looked for people going through difficulties and I've stepped in because I know that I think differently to everyone else because everything is the way you think and I don't think like everyone else. I've trained myself to think in a different way, and it's like we've got this gift and it's the gift that keeps on giving. And in business we have to use it a lot, and it's called perspective. And we have to change, like, we have to place a perspective that works best for us. And it can change at any point because we still want to be the best for us. And what a non-entrepreneur will never know is often we lose to win. And they'll go, but you're losing. Yeah, but that was the best loss out of all the options that I had. Because that's the other one, options and choices. When we go into something, people are like, everything's got options and choices. When I meet someone else and they think, I've got no options and choices, I goes, like, let's look at the situation you've got. Let's identify what choices you have. And as soon as you start, what you'll find is there's always choices and options. There is. Even when because you get blinded on your own, don't you? Like, you're smart, Craig. I'm going to give you this. You're smart. Like, I would look to you as like an entrepreneur to look up to because you've got really good energy and you make things happen. You've got a huge growth mindset and you probably didn't even know fully. Are you aware of that? Because you're often challenging yourself. Everything you said before was a growth mindset. When you said you started your business, you should be
It
impressed.
is. Thank you, and thanks for that feedback, mate. Because I do appreciate, especially coming from you. I do appreciate that, but I do. I think I'm trying to think when you were talking about fix and growth. I'm trying to think of the book that I read because again, it goes back to the book. There
I
was
know.
a book that I read about fixed and growth mindset. I'm trying. It's going to annoy me who this doctor was because
Is it
where I am
Doctor
right.
Dweck? Is it Dweck? Carol Dweck? Because
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
the
it is.
she was the
It is.
original 1997. She was the woman who started to say that the one thing in self development you need to work on is your mindset because it's
Yeah,
multifaceted. There's so
and that's
it's not just
exactly
one
her.
thing. It's thousands. It's thousands of ways and approaches.
It is, but I that was when I read it was her book, and I read
Great
her
book.
book, and then I took so much from that in terms of the questions that I asked myself and the way that I was, and I think it was clear that I did have a growth mindset because, but that's just naturally who I was. It wasn't a case of I needed to change that, which made things a little bit easier, I suppose, in terms of if you naturally got the growth mindset, it just
Some
makes things a
people have
little bit easier.
naturally. Some people you meet, they're like I meet some people and I think you must have read this book, and they'll go, "No, I don't read any books like that." But they're just natural. Some people are natural and great. What a gift! It might have been the parenting they had, because something led them and grew them into who they were, and there was an environment things, and there was a like parenting and stuff that made them. But some people are just unbelievably on it, but not everyone is. But everyone
No,
can be.
no,
That's the
yeah.
thing. You can be like everyone else. You like. Can I be more in like? Can I get better at certain maths? You can if you try. You can if you keep doing it. Everything you keep working on, you'll eventually get further than where you were. And if it's not, you might not be able to become like a physicist because I know I can't, but I can do some elements of it, and I can get a little bit of knowledge. I know I can't do it all, but then I'll touch on it. And it's like I'm realistic with myself of who I am, and I am who I am, and I know what I am. I know what I can push. And the one thing with mindset is people always say to me, "You always look happy." Do I always have happy things? Things happen to me. Like I get life events happen, but I teach people that it's not what happened. I know this is a cliche. It's not what happens to you. It's how you deal with it. Because life's going to come every day. Life's going to come, and it's how you respond to that. That's your one choice. How you respond. You know what I mean? Look, some people respond badly, and I will sometimes. Just last week, I was on my bike and I was exchanging, falling out with the taxi driver, giving me hassle about being on my bike. I wasn't mad, and I got to work and I thought, if he sees some of my videos, he's gonna be like, "Well, this guy was." But in that moment, we all have moments as well. That's no
Yeah.
one's perfect. Some people lie about perfection. If you look on Instagram and social media, that's not true. Like funny if we just spoke about one before. The coolest person ever, but he gets a bit down every so often. I've just realised it, so I'm going to contact him. But if you watch their social media, you think they have the best life in the whole wide world, but that's not the reality. Do you know what I
No.
mean? The reality is something more than that's a face.
And that's it. It's what people worry too much about. Like, funny enough, I've had a
Mm,
conversation with an advisor before this podcast talking about how people worry so much about what other people doing and the other
mm,
people are their lifestyle, that what they've got, like everything's a show. It's all the jazz hands show. Look at me, I'm
yeah,
amazing kind of thing. When actually bull is like what's behind that, like, do you know, it's sort of that thing that we create, and what things that people do is then worry about, like, what I don't the one thing that I don't do is I don't worry about what other people are doing or what other people are thinking or how I don't compare myself to anybody else. I
yeah,
don't
good
look at them
one.
and go, oh my god, I need to be
Mm,
like, oh, they're doing amazing, and then I get a down on myself because I'm thinking, oh well, they're doing all that, why aren't I doing that? Why is I don't look at like that, and I think that's because I just think, well, this is me, this is my goals, this is what I want to achieve. My goals are relevant to me, and
yeah,
they're not relevant to somebody else. And if they want to push what they're doing and things like that's fine, that's their goals and that's what they want
mm,
to do. I'm happy and I'm comfortable in my space. I'm comfortable what I'm doing. I love what I do, and I think I don't worry about what else is out there in the. I've created this little bubble or whatever you want to call it, but then I just
it's
feel
not a
that,
little
like, my
bubble. I
mind.
don't think it's a little bubble, is it? Because I've been checking you out. It's getting bigger. That bubble's getting
Yeah.
bigger, mate.
No, yeah, but it's about that. But the thing is, I feel comfortable in my bubble, and it's what I
mm,
do. Like, and I love what I do. I don't worry about, well, who else is doing this and who else is doing that, and do I? I'm not. I don't care. I genuinely, and I think that's down to that's not down to parents and stuff like that. I think that's just down to the way that I've taken myself over
Yeah, yeah.
particularly since I've been a business owner. I think I've changed massively. Reading, doing my
Reading is a big game changer. Reading other
meditation,
people. Oh, you do
meditation
it.
as well. Yeah, doing
Ev-
meditation as well.
So I
And I've
try. How often do you do it?
3 times a week. 3 times a week
For
is
how
when I do
long?
it. 10 minutes. Ten
Do you
minutes is
listen
sort
to
of like,
some or do you
yeah,
just do
listen,
it
yeah,
straight?
listen,
Ah,
listen,
okay.
listen,
I do
listen,
it little
listen.
bits, not as much as I want, but I do my other stuff. But yeah, I've got a busy
Yeah.
mind sometimes with that, I feel. But I want to
Okay.
do better. I'll keep trying at it, and I do. And do you know? Can I? I once cracked it. So I once. Have you ever been to where we live? So we live in the Lake District, and in Ulverston, there's a Buddhist sanctuary. Have you ever been?
No, no, no,
I'd recommend
no.
it. It's got near Ulverston. It's got a Buddhist sanctuary. It's got this old, amazing, sort of like old buildings, but this brand new Buddhist place next to it. And you go and they do a daily meditation. And I went there a few
Right.
times, and then I used it. And then one day I was in my house, and it was a Friday, and it was when the kids were younger, and I was on one. I don't really get on one now, but I was on one, like absolutely. I mean, raging, right? So I go in the garage, and I don't plan to meditate. What I do is I'm sat on one. I sit down. I just close my eyes and go. I've not planned this. I meditate, right? I go from I am as angry. I'm just so angry. I can't remember what happened. I was so angry. I went from 100 angry to 0. And after the meditation, I opened my eyes and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the effect it had on me. And now you'd think that'd make me do it all the time, but it never, because that's what we do. And I haven't had that before. But meditation is, yeah, keep going with it.
It's just something I found. Is that because I was just looking to the side because is that the because you've got a video on your YouTube channel which we're gonna big up because you've got over 1,000 subscribers on there, so that's
Mm.
you're bigging me up, mate. You've got over 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, but when one thing that sort of sprung out to me when I was looking at your videos and what you do, because you do local stuff as well as mindset stuff, and I absolutely love that to bits in terms of you've got a whole array of different like things that are on there from your own YouTube, but then quiet the monkey mind is in
That is
setting the Buddhist
brilliant.
thing that, and
That's
I literally
There's another
honed into that
video
straight
to
away.
come. I walked into that place, right, with you got a video. So just quick about my YouTubing, biggest test of my mindset ever. And let me tell you what. So I have been a confident person all my life. I've been a commentator for an events company my mate owns, thousands of people. I'm on the mic all day, brilliant, loads of confidence. And then it came to YouTubing. So I did my first video. I was petrified of every single aspect because what I was doing is I'm not like I'm not an opinion like my opinions and I don't like other than mindset, which is it's not an opinion, it's a way of thinking and being. I keep my opinions to myself because opinions cause conflicts. People
Yeah,
get caught. I mean, this whole corona, religion, everything. It's I don't get involved. I just live my life and I enjoy it, and I don't read the news or watch the news. If anyone wants, I don't watch or read the news because I don't want to be affected because I take mindset so seriously. And so yeah, when I started that weekend, you get told no one watches your videos at first, no one. And I checked my analytics, and I had good views. And I've done about 5 videos now. And then I checked on WhatsApp shares, 256 WhatsApp shares. Do you know what that meant? That meant the lads where I live were sharing my videos. And that really, like, my mindset's impeccable. It's the only time that I've been to my best mates in a long time needing guidance. And it was about me getting these videos shared. All the things that have happened to me, I was bothered about that. It bothered me for 1 week. Since then, I do not care. Because now I shoot videos. Yes, I'm motivated and I want other people to be motivated. And if people have a problem with that, then that's them and not me. You know, and I had to get over myself. I did. It was a big thing. And you say, like, now I'm at a stage with my YouTube where I'm doing events because I went to an event. I went to the Appleby Horse Fair. And what I did was, Appleby Horse Fair has a lot of controversy to do with it. This is what I did. I drove there, I got out of my car, and I recorded the whole day and edited it, put it in a video. After that, the video was the best video I've had, 100,000 views. It was my biggest success. I hit one of my goals of YouTube. The amount of people that wanted me to think about what I was doing because of maybe the community or what happened in there and whatnot. But I didn't. I just relayed it what it was. And it's an interesting, like, thing of the YouTube is a test of the mindset because someone don't watch your videos. Why are they not watching it? And there's all these things. But I like that test, else I wouldn't do
Yeah.
it. And my main thing is to make people enjoy life more. People get caught up in what they should and shouldn't and how they should think and what they should do. I go somewhere and always enjoy myself every time. Not sometimes, every time. So if you come with me, we're gonna have a good time. You know what I mean? And that's a different. Go with someone else, and you know they're gonna have a bad time every time because they find a reason to. Whereas my videos are about not finding that. So, yeah, it was my biggest
No.
test of my mindset. All the other test was I didn't like doing it in front of people. So I'd be filming. If anyone came, I'd put it down. So what I did was I told myself I'm going into middle of town, you know, in just out of our place, further. I went and filmed in there because I had to get over myself. And now I'm all right with it. Who cares? I'm doing it for LinkedIn now. I had to start recording for there. Different kind of video. But the
Yeah.
end game is I want to help people. And the only reason I can help people is by doing these bloody videos. So I do them.
But the thing is, Christian, you're not doing it for the likes and the followers and things. You're just doing it to help people. You're doing it for education. Like the podcast, the videos that I do, it's all about education. I don't wake up in the morning thinking how many followers I've got, how many viewings have I got, or I've got no viewers on this and things like that. I genuinely don't care, honestly. But that's hard. But that's how I've trained my mind to be over a number of years to actually not care about that and think
You've trained your
actually
mindset. You've
you
trained
do.
your mindset. Just
You
like what
do.
we do with people, that's what you did to yourself.
Yeah,
You trained your mindset.
and that's I did through
I
reading, through
know.
listening, through education, through the rest of it. I did train my mindset because then you release the shackles, like you said. You got from behind
Total.
you. You then were recording in front of people because you didn't. Not that you didn't care, but you just
I did care. No, I
you did
did.
care.
I
Yeah,
did
absolutely.
care, and I
Yeah,
care
yeah,
about little, but now I don't. That's gone.
yeah,
That's the old.
yeah,
That's the old me over a year and a bit ago. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because we're like a snake. I shed that bit, and I moved on to something else that made me feel uncomfortable, and then I'll move on to something else that made me feel uncomfortable. If my end game is I want to be on a stage doing motivational speaking, and if I wanted to do that, I had when I started it. That's what I want in the end. But first, people have to know who you are. That's
yeah,
who are you? You're just a
yeah,
guy
yeah.
getting up saying a lot of stuff. After a bit, people have to want you up there, and that's where I want to be. So that's where I'll keep going, and that's a story I tell myself where I want to be. So when I get knocked down, remember I'm trying to get somewhere, and I've got a lot of things that I've learned to overcome that I can give to people, and then they can overcome their stuff. And I want like you meet people a lot. They try and tell you that the world's full of bad people, and it isn't. The world's full of good people, but you only concentrate on the small few that are bad. I don't concentrate on them. I just concentrate on the ones. The world is great. Well, I live in a great place. My life's great. Yeah, I do know the odd person who isn't, but also I look at them and think, what's their circumstances? Where are they at? Some of them are naturally from birth evil, and I know some of them, but most aren't. Most are good and just need someone to get that good out of them. And that's why I took that lad out today, because I think he's good, but he's been around evil. And he told me stories in that prison, what's happened to him. But I think he's a good person. And if someone like me doesn't tell him that, people in this world forget to tell people. Like, who was the last person who told you you're doing really well with your business, Craig? And I'm really impressed with what you've done, doing this podcast, doing all the things. It's really impressive. Who was the last person to tell you that?
You about 5 minutes ago.
No, but I am, and people
But it just
forget to say the nice
people do
things. Or
no, you're absolutely right because you don't get there's no real pats on the back. Being a business owner, running your own business, having your own firm, there are no pats on the back. You don't get those sort of, and if that's what you're looking for, then you can't. It's difficult running your own firm because if you're constantly looking for the pats on the back from the corporate world that you used to get in of the false there, well done, the false well done. Well, it's just that then you're not in the right place of you shouldn't be self-employed anyway. But like I say,
yeah,
we're not in that world where there's full of true praise because people can see praise as a weakness. Giving praise can be seen then from a personal point of view of a weakness because actually, and that's the sort of
I'm
that's
offended by
sometimes
that. I'm
difficult. I
offended. Like,
know,
whoa, you're
yeah,
ruining people's lives by not letting them feel good.
I
People
know
need to
exactly.
feel good. We need to live life. Like everyone I meet. Well, first thing I do is I do this. I'm giving away all my secrets here, so someone's going to have them. First thing I say, I go, if they come and I can see that they're unhappy, and that's one of the reasons, because that's the first thing we can break that one down. I say, are you happy? And they'll go, not really. And then I'll say this. I'll say, in the last 2 weeks, what did you do that makes you happy? And they'll say, I did nothing. And then I'll go, right then, what are we going to do in the next 2 weeks that's going to make you happy? Because happiness is a process and you've got to establish it and get yourself there and do stuff. And it's as simple as that. Next minute, I meet them in 2 weeks and we agree what they're going to do. And they go, yeah, I did. You know what? I did enjoy that. I did do that thing. And they get that, the buzz is starting. Start the buzz again. You good at self-creating the buzz, aren't you? And some people are, whereas some people need a little bit of a spark. You know, at the end of the day, why not have a coach? If your finances are a problem, all we do is get you to your next stage where you want to be and grow you and make you enjoy the experience more. Sells itself. Well, I hope so, anyway.
No, it does. You are giving away a little secrets there in terms of how and what you do. But people do need coaches. People do need that sort of somebody to actually give them the realization that there is good things that happen in their life and good things that they've got and the positives out of it, because we do focus too much on the negatives, because that's just how we sort of makes we take comfort in that, do we?
This is no example. I don't know why this came in. You know, you said it was going to flow, but this is what you were saying there. What was he called? He was in Wham who died. He was the one who was getting stoned, crashing into things.
George Michael.
George Michael. So George Michael died, right? I didn't know much about George Michael. I loved his music. And then he died, and then all them people came forward who'd been helping and not telling anyone. He's everyone in the news, he's doing this, he's doing that. And then he died, and oh my God, I was touched by how much he did for people that he never told anyone. But everyone viewed and judged him off the stuff they put in the news.
Exactly.
You know, if we let everyone, like the guy I met today, people are going to judge him around here because he's just got out of prison. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at who he is because I think he's a decent guy, and I want to cave into that bit. I want him to remove the prison head, and remember that's not his head. That's not him. That's not who he's going to be. It's a decision time. Who you're going to be, and that's not you. You're not that person. You're not someone to be around that. So who are you going to be? So I want to gel on the good. You know, I don't want to get caught up in, we've all made mistakes, some of them worse than others, or we've all said the wrong thing, done the wrong thing, had the wrong job, made a mistake at it, but that's the past. And the one thing's the difference between a coach and a therapist is I don't really deal with the past. I only deal with creating futures that are going to make you happier. Because I'm about the now. I'm all about today. What happened to me in my past is that. And I don't want it. That's a week of me who experienced it. Whereas what happens to me now is me, and what happens to me in the future will be me again, because I'll be developing every day. Like you hit it when you started reading and listening to other people's thoughts, you grew. And if people could understand that more, that don't stay with what you think, because you'll only ever be who you are. Unless you're like, some people are unbelievable, though. There is that 1%ers who are like awesome at everything, but I'm 100% not that guy.
and that's great for them. That is good for them. But like I said, the other 99%, I'll probably say 99.99% of, they're not like that. And it is about sort of learning, developing, failing. All those things have all mixed into the bag. And actually, like you say, you're not. If you've got that expectation that you're the top 0.01% or whatever, then good for you. That's good for you, but that's not reality. That's not what I see day in, day out. Is that fair to say? Would you?
I'm nothing, not to do with coaching, a previous business thing, which is actually one of the biggest nightmares of my life. And there's one guy involved in it, and he is that 0.1% guy. He's ex-military. I've never met anyone who holds a conversation like he does. And like before the call, I'm thinking, oh no, here we go. How am I going to play this one? Because he plays you tactically throughout the phone call. At the end of it, I know I've been played and I know what's happened, but during it, I've no control. And at the end of it, I'm like, he's got me saying what he's saying. He's like, is it NLP or whatever it is? And he's like something out of a film. But then I see his weaknesses that he'll never see because he won't see he has any. So I accept my weaknesses and look at some of them as being just me, and I won't change them. Like the dyslexic thing, I can't. It's not a weakness. Like it's not a label. I'm only saying it because it's a reality that sometimes I face. But it doesn't mean I'm not very good at spelling and smart short words. And I'm not good. How I know I'm dyslexic is I go up the mountains. And my best mate takes me up the mountains. So we've been out 3 weeks on the trot, or 4 weeks. And on 4 weeks, he says, "Oh, we're here now." Says this name. And I went, "All right." And he went, "You are taking the mickey." And I went, "What?" He goes, "We've come to the same place 4 times, and I'll give you 4 different names, and you've never once questioned it." And it was at that point I went, "Have you honestly?" He went, "Yeah, I have." And he was quite mad. And it was, I took the dyslexic test, and that's a part of it. And then, but what difference did it make? I'd had a degree and all that. I've had no help support, but I'm not that labelled because that's just something in me. But
Yeah,
my story is where I'm going. So people need to start telling themselves the story. And that, if I say what I help people do, I help people change the story. Because some people told them a story that's led to where they are that isn't true about them. Because some people, like, you get them people who actually are really good, who think they're bad, and you get the opposite, don't you? Those who are
yeah,
absolutely useless, and they've thought, and a lot of them are in management, high up, you know,
yeah,
so, and they've got it there, but in reality, it's them, the doubters, and the ones who've got the self-sabotage and the imposter syndrome. They're the ones. Some of the times when you release them valves, there's a lot of potential in there, and seeing that. And I meet people all the time, got miles more intelligent than me, but I know that one thing I've got is this bit here, so I'm all
yeah,
right.
yeah. And but that's it. You're absolutely right. Those people are in higher management and things like that, and create the corporate environment and their team environment because of their shortcomings. So they'll create that team around their shortcomings and give this sort of like illusion of how they are and the power they have and things like that. When actually there's a lot of shortcomings there. And like I said, once you release that valve of the team and the people that work underneath them, then it's actually then
Yeah,
the actual leader will benefit more because they've released those little valves with the
yeah,
individuals to then
yeah.
see their potential increase, which actually increases their potential. But because they have that fear that they can't release those valves because that's seen as a weakness to them, well, what?
And
Why?
guess what someone like me does then? We identify that they even like you're working with someone who's far more intelligent and you know it straight away. But when I'm looking, it's like when someone looks at your business. It's really easy to look at someone else's business and find the things you can help them with. But when you look at your own, sometimes you just encompass, you're in it too much. You
Yeah,
can't see out.
yeah,
Someone pops in. Have you thought of that? Oh, sometimes it's like the most ridiculously obvious, and you think, how have I not seen it? But don't
yeah.
worry about why you've not seen it. Be glad that it came.
Exactly, exactly.
Perspective.
Yeah, no, and that's it because people won't. Business owners won't want to see that as a sign of weakness. It's like sort of,
Mm,
well, no, I'm a business owner, and I know like how are you? How can you point out something that I'm not doing because I've got this business, my business is amazing. Things like they can't
that's
accept
fixed.
that. Yeah,
Fixed
exactly,
mindset. Mm,
exactly.
mm. But you're not that. That's why you've got a branding coach. You've had another coach before. You're willing to realize in order to get to where you want to be, other people will help you get there.
No, exactly, and I love that, and I'm excited by
Mm,
that. I don't want to like. I've got a big birthday coming next year. I'm 50 years old. I have no problem sharing that. I
mm,
don't I don't think to myself, oh, by the time I'm 50, I wanted to do this, I wanted to know this, I wanted to know that.
mm.
I genuinely don't care. Like if I'm still learning and developing my mind when I'm in another 10 years, if I've got my mind in another 15, 20 years, and I'm feel myself lucky
Yeah,
because I'm I'm not. I have goals and things I want to achieve, absolutely, but I also want to enjoy achieving those goals
yeah,
because the goals will always change. There'll always be another goal. There'll always be another goal. So
yeah.
you've got to look at enjoying the ride
So
to
I'm
get
writing.
that goal.
You brought it. Sorry, yeah, I'm writing a workshop because what I want to do is I do one-to-one coaching. But what I'd like to do is what I can find is I can have a quick impact on someone quite quick. So I'm putting a workshop together for businesses where I'll come in with the business and I'll give either a brief workshop of some of the things to take in to think about with mindset, or I can have an individual half an hour. Some people I meet and they have the worst time ever. In half an hour, I change them. Next minute, I've not got them as a client because now they've overcome whatever it is. They haven't
Yeah,
realised they've got other places to go. But a lot of people you meet, what they do is they say, "Here's my destination. I'm going to be so not such. I'm going to be happy. That's my goal. I've got to be there." But what you get with goals is, do you often get the exact goal you want, or is it the journey and the process getting to it? Because on that way to the goal, you are learning, you are pushing yourself, you're finding stuff. So it's not necessarily the goal, it's the pursuit of goals. Because ultimately, goals change. And if you get fixated on one goal, and when you don't get it, you feel rejection. Whereas if you keep like what you're saying to me is in 10 years time, you're going to keep moving forward, taking on new things, taking on challenges. You're going to do everything that I'd want you to do. And that's why you're going to get to the places where you want to be. And you're not going to be static. You're moving somewhere. And that's exactly why you've just identified it. And that's why you have got a massive growth mindset and you're on it. And that's why you're feeling the successes of the things that you're doing.
Thanks for that. I feel as though I've been had a coaching session in the middle of my podcast,
mate. But that's what it is. We pump. I don't know what you know about. We put like people forget in this world to be. I do it. My son. Last night I spoke to him. I'm bloody proud of my son, listening to him. But I also shape him. But with bits I want to be proud. I tell him, I love you, son. When you're doing that, it's really impressive. Lots of people don't have any of that. No. So if you're not getting it, give it like if you've got a place of work, you own a cafe, you got your employee, they're not getting it. Tell them how valued you think they are. There's a new thing going around on LinkedIn last week about. I've never heard of it. But I thought cracking idea. Everyone's on about employment at the minute. People are going different places. They're moving on. They're not keeping them for long. Yeah. So now you've got the stay interview? So it's an interview while you're working. It's called a stay in. The terminology is basically it's a stay interview, finding out how's it going, how are you finding your job, what makes you want to stay, what do you want. So instead of getting an exit interview when they go and you find out why they've gone, have a stay interview and find out what motivates them. And it can be the smallest thing. You're like, I actually like the fact you praise me quite a lot and do stuff when I've done something good. But I like it when I've done something wrong, you clearly tell me and define what it is I've done wrong. And you find out who it is rather than wait till they're going to find out what you've done wrong. Find out now and make people's journey good. Make people have a good journey. I'm doing it in the hairdressers now. So Craig is in one of my offices and I didn't want to be up there because I need people. I need them. So when I was up there, I need the people. So I'm down here now. I coach from afar the hairdressers and every one of them is making moves. They're like, I'm not saying they're at. I feel like I've started a thing of people have started taking mindset important and realizing that it's all right to fail. It's all right to get back up. It's all right. Every day is a new challenge. We just keep going. We just keep going and we keep moving. We don't, and I'm noticing a difference and it's great. You know what I mean? It's great. It's great.
I need to come downstairs more often, mate. I just go upstairs on the third floor and lock myself in the room.
I've never seen you. I've only ever seen you when you move. It is nice and quiet up there, like a humble. It's almost like a Buddhist sanctuary up there. I did tell you that, It is.
Nice. It's perfect for me, mate. Honestly, I'm not. I don't like. That's just me and who I am. It's absolutely perfect for me and doing these.
You've got a therapist up there as well, mate.
Exactly.
Both sides, holistic and one who deals with cognitive therapy. Either way, you're all right,
Happy days. I'm sort of either side. Exactly. Christian, honestly, mate, we've gone on for an hour in terms of, and we had no agenda. I knew this would be sort of so conversational. No, like I said, no agenda, no bull, literally true of. And I was excited by this because I got only having a few conversations with you. I was excited thinking I've got no idea where this was going to go. But actually, it's been totally on point, totally relevant to everything that I've done and will continue to do with this podcast. So, and hopefully, mate, because you are local downstairs, then hopefully we can get you we've got an hour of going on, and we've not even scratched the surface. We've just scratched.
Can I just do a call for action? Can I do a call for action? So I'm available for coaching people. You can contact me on LinkedIn. My name is Christian Hoyle. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm having a website developed, so I can't give you my website. I have a Facebook page called Christian Hoyle. I've forgotten. Mindset and Business Coaching. But I'm on LinkedIn. And if you get to that point in your life where you're thinking you want to make some changes and you want to have some growth, or you're in a predicament where you're not quite happy where you are, then what you'll find is you're actually really near where you are and you're actually closer than what you think. And then you contact me, we'll have a consultation and you'll quickly find that you're doing better than what you are. And we'll quickly get you back into a place where you're smiling a lot more and enjoying life and pushing yourself and your boundaries. So that's what I want to do.
Brilliant. And no problem with the call to action. And actually, Christian, I'll tag you in on. I've got your Facebook page and your YouTube and your LinkedIn, so I'll get them all tagged.
And podcasts. I want to be on some podcasts. I'll be honest, I've been running my own podcast. This is the first time I've been a guest. I'm going to heavily use this to get another guest because they're a buzz, aren't they? You get, you know, when you're going to,
Absolutely.
aren't they like, I don't know. I used to do them on the Mondays because Monday afternoon, because that's a bit of a week that like can be a bit of a
Yeah,
problem
yeah,
type.
yeah.
Gives
Time,
you the
yeah, yeah.
most. I just feel really good about it. Like, you know, it just makes you feel good. And
Good.
thanks, I really
Well,
appreciate it. I really appreciate you inviting me on as well.
no, I appreciate your time, mate, and being a guest, and honestly sharing giving your honest sort of, and I've loved about it. It's been really exploring mindset and got into that, and I think we've got to like say. I'd love to be able to get you back on as a guest again in the
I'd
future
love
and,
to.
let you explore this a little bit
100%.
more. So brilliant, mate. So, and what I think I point out as well is you don't just work with local people, even though you're based in Kendall. You do work
No,
with
no, I work
people.
online.
You're
Mm.
international. You are an
Yeah, yeah.
international sort
Yeah, yeah.
of mindset coach.
But
So
what I
yeah,
like to do is, like, if anyone lives nearby, we could do it online. But sometimes, like, for instance, one guy is in business. What I'm doing is I'm coaching him. We're going somewhere. I'm coaching him. Then we're going to a networking event together because I want to.
yeah,
When I work with someone, I'm their ally. I want him to get work. I'm already, you know, like we're in it
yeah,
together. Do you know what I mean? I want them to have the
yeah, yeah.
best that they can. I want them to have good relationships. I want them to have a good job, and I want them to be happy. And I believe everyone has a right to do that. And if you think it right, you'll get there.
Definitely. Brilliant. We'll leave it on that point,
Awesome.
mate.
Cheers,
Thanks
mate.
very much for your time, Christian, and I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.